Welcome to the Claws Out podcast. We are live here at the Mic'd Up studio, literally minutes after the West Tigers' wild 21-20 Golden Point victory over the Parramatta Eels. Rob, Steve, and Gary, we've all sprinted from Combank Stadium, Rob.
I've got a cramp.
I think I've done my hammy. How's the emotions after that one, mate?
Mate, I could have sprinted to Campbelltown. I am so bloody happy. An amazing win by the boys. They are made of different stuff this year, Eddie. We keep trying to tell you in the group chat we're made of something different. I know it can be a bit clunky in the red zone attacks got to improve, and we'll talk all about that later. But I never, ever doubted losing that game, even when we had a man in the sin bin. I was just, keep us in range, we'll get it done.
Steve, you did send me a couple of articles this morning, and I said, stop sending me fluff. You're getting ahead of yourself. It's only 3 rounds in. But you did say numerous times during the week, this side is made of different stuff this year. Did that prove it today?
Oh, absolutely it did. You know, we had a lot go against us. Some of it was of our own doing, but some of it wasn't. But they are such a resilient and tough team, you know. And the great thing about this is those boys can all sit around the dressing room as they'd be doing right now, look at each other in the eye and say, we all have a dig for each other, you know, and they have a dig for Benji. And you know what? They're having a dig for us. So we've got a side to support, boys.
How's the heart rate, Gary?
Yeah, it got very high towards the end of that game. I will back up what Steve just said, and actually on what Rob just said as well. We're not a pretty team. We're quite an ugly team to watch at the moment.
Especially when you're on the pod.
Oh, well done, Steve.
He's in a good mood. But we are a team that fights. We are a team with heart, and I don't think I'm going to have a situation anytime soon where I think we're out of a game.
We haven't had a long time to prepare here, so we'll do our best, but we are going to try and make this interactive. So if you are on the live chat on YouTube and you've got something you want to throw to the boys, we've got it on the screen in the background. I can't promise I'll get all of them, but I'm going to try a few times tonight to glance over there. If you've got any comments or any questions for Rob, Steve, or Gary or myself, we'll try and answer them as we go. But, Steve, I'll start with you. Your like a Tiger moment from today.
Well, like a Tiger moment, I just love this story. So my like a Tiger moment is Royce Hunt, and when he came on the field, I just thought he made such a difference. His impact was immediate, and it sort of turned the game, I thought, in the first half. And this bloke got told last year he wasn't fit enough and he wasn't good enough and he needed to do something about it, and he did. And, you know, we get to that 25-minute mark and we get better. You know, we don't have a drop or a lull, and he is making such an impact in our footy side.
Appy Coruscant's whole game, but in particular, I know it led to a penalty to get Parramatta into the lead, but the ankle tap he did on Moses, the effort, you know, because if Moses doesn't get ankle tap there, he's got the chance to beat his man or pass or kick for support. So to do what he did and ankle tap him, I loved every single thing of what Appy Coruscant did today. That was my like a Tiger moment.
My like a Tiger moment today goes out to our fans. It goes out to the crowd we had out at the ground. And I'm going to isolate one moment in a minute, but the entire game, I think we out-enthused and were much louder than the Parramatta fans. And I think that was shown even before the game started when Mitchell Moses popped up on the screen. The boos that he received at a Parramatta home game really warmed my heart. I really enjoyed seeing that.
Well, Gary, none of our Tigers chanting was pre-recorded either.
No, it wasn't. And I must say, maybe Parramatta fans were booing Moses as well, so maybe we had a bit of help there.
It's a great point, though, Rob, because, I mean, I was actually in the Parramatta general admission sort of section, or predominantly Eels behind the post there, and even Talon De Silva got booed as he got read out. And 5 minutes into the game, the Tigers chant was up around the stadium. You could hear it.
I think the fans have got something to cheer about this year. We're sick of losing, and I think with the enthusiasm, there's also that little bit of frustration from the past, and you can just hear it in our fans' voices. Look, the Parramatta fans were loud. I'm not going to deny that, but we want it. We want it so bad, and it showed in our enthusiasm. It showed in the numbers. Record crowd today at Combank, over 29,000 people. You know, as much as we want to win and, you know, we talk about the football, it was a spectacle. It was entertainment. We got our bang for buck. A great game before that as well, 30-26 to the West Magpies. So it was just a wonderful day all round to be there, and I'm so happy that I got to go, and I thank you for the ticket and
that we've lost.
that we've lost, and your friends will never get back.
Am I allowed to give? I know I'm the host, but I'm allowed to give a like a Tiger moment. You showed me to show a little bit of emotion. I'm going to give it to the referee, Peter Goff. Well done for showing some balls and penalising Parramatta for being offside in Golden Point. Gary, you never see it. Like I think we've won 6 of 21 in Golden Point, and we've been penalised. I remember back in 2007, Steve Clark penalised for offside. Referees rarely have the gumption to do that 20 metres out. I think Jock Madden missed the field goal, but he said, Dylan Walker, no, you're offside.
Yeah, and he missed it because of that pressure Dylan Walker was able to put on from being offside. So it was a correct call. And, yeah, I have to commend him for making it because it's not an easy call to make.
And I will say it would have been a goal line dropout because it touched a Parramatta hand. So we still would have got the ball back and we still would have won somehow.
So many controversial moments in that game, Steve. I know Coach will break down hopefully some of the tries later with Rob and Junior on the show, but that sin binning, it was a massive turning point because we really dominated that first 20 minutes of the second half.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. At halftime, I had a look at the stats, and we were slightly ahead on all the stats. It's sort of the stats replicated the score, right? And you could see at the back end of that first half, right? We were running over the top of them. They were out of gas, and I was thinking to myself, if we just hold the ball in the second half, the same thing's going to happen. They're going to run out of gas, and we're going to come over the top of them. And that was happening. The first 15 minutes of the second half, we were all over them. Then the simming, but two things happened. One, we lost a player, right? Obviously, but the other thing, they got 10 minutes almost rest with that stretch. Like the stretcher stuff is terrible. You never want to see that, but that really gave them a regroup and got their breath back too. And it did change the game, but not at the end.
It's a really hard sin binning to cop. It's a sin binning that results from the injury to a player, not from the action. We see tackles made like that every day.
It's consistent though, Gary. I don't love it, but guy's got a dislocated ankle. We can't really complain about the sin bin.
Look, I don't like that there's potential in any time you pull a player down like that for it to result in an injury. So every time that happens, there's the potential for that to happen. So you really need to treat the incident the same. It's not because he got unlucky and the guy happened to dislocate his ankle when he did it. What about the 5 other people who did it over the weekend who were lucky that didn't cause an injury?
Rob, your thoughts on the sin bin? Was it fair enough or was it a tough one to call?
I don't think you can have a sin bin when it's not intentional. It was poorly timed from Luke Lowley. He was going to catch the ball and he was, an hour late, let's face it. And then his natural instinct was just to grab the guy. He had a split second to react. But if this guy wasn't injured, he wouldn't have got sin binned. What I do want to say, Eddie, I think it seems like our boys love to be down 10-0, which is quite weird, three weeks in a row. But I think I'm objective enough to say that Parramatta were the better team in the first half and they got to play their style of football. What I loved about the second half prior to the sin bin, we got them to get down and dirty with us. We got them to grind. They couldn't be expansive. We had them pinned in their quarter line. We probably should have iced the game to a degree at 18-10. There were a few chances, close opportunities there that we didn't get to. But I loved the way that we turned a game that was going against us to play on our terms. And, even with that sin bin, you get rewarded for that, Eddie, because I said to the boys next to me, I had Josh, I had Shane, I had Adel there, and I said, guys, as long as we're within a converted try, when we get Luke back, we're a chance.
Eddie, I want to come at the sin binning from a different perspective, right? I think that should have been a sin binning, but my concern about the sin binning in today's game is just too long, right? Like a 10-minute sin bin when we've got a game where momentum means everything. 10 minutes without a player down. I don't know. I think the game is so fast at the moment. A 5-minute sin bin should be introduced.
Well, big shout out to Jason D, Rob. In the comments, he's written, anyone got a box of tissues for our mate here, Mitchell Moses? So I might just wipe away the tears from Mitch because referee Mitchell Moses, we love to hate him and he's maddening to watch, but I got the feel even before halftime, and at halftime, he was in the referee's face. He was touching the referee. He was really, really pushing the boundaries there, trying to get late decisions, which maybe worked in his favour late in the game.
I can't tell referee Goff how to referee, but what I would say if I was a referee, do you want to use your challenge or shut the fuck up? Okay, because he just came in his face all game. We saw his best mate, James Tedesco.
Soccer game.
James Tedesco did it against New Zealand when they played in the first round of the year. It's an ugly look. And the worst part about it, if you look at it from a footy point of view, we could be talking, I will talk about it. Mitch Moses was magnificent having to defend at centre on Amasi Makasini. And instead, we're going to be talking about bitch Moses because that's all he did all game. He bitched and whinged. And honestly, he was an embarrassment to not only Parramatta, but his fans, his club. That was over the top. And if the NRL have got any balls, they should reprimand him or fine him.
That's why I was pleasantly surprised, Gary, that Goff actually had the gumption because he was put under pressure all game, Moses in his face.
Yeah, and you see referees all the time fold to that. And it wasn't just that penalty at the end. It was also the penalty at the end of regular time as well. That was probably a pretty big call to make. I don't know whether in the history of the game for too long they would have been penalties, the two head-eye penalties that were given at the end. But he had the courage to make those calls, and I think, that's a credit to him, I guess.
Just on those head-high penalties, Steve, there was obviously the one for Parramatta where we thought Moses raced into challenge, and I thought, here we go, we've lost the game. But then it was almost like a square-up, two soft ones.
Yeah, look, I have to agree with Gary. I don't. The game is going soft, right? And I understand why. We need to be clear about it. Any touch to the head is an immediate penalty, but I don't know that one we gave away. That was barely a touch, wasn't it?
Mate, a hand sliding across the face is not the same as a fist or the forearm hitting the face. That there has to be some leeway when it's just a hand sliding across the face.
But what do you do, mate? Because like I agree, right? But what do you do? Because if you make it subjective, then we're sitting here saying, "Oh, should that one have been a penalty? Should that one have been a penalty?" I suppose
we're saying that anyway.
Yeah, well, that's right.
But you can't adjudicate in slow motion, boys. Like that's the problem. What we're slowing everything down to 100th of a second. And it's ridiculous that was a penalty. And that, really, that probably would have cost the game. If we didn't get a magnificent, I forget who retook the kickoff. Was it Macassini that caught the ball from our kickoff?
No, it was Sam Fainey.
Sam Fainey, or whoever it was. If we don't
also got the short dropout as well.
If we don't get that ball back, we lose the game. Like they pretty much go down the other end and we don't get a look in.
Seems like, Gary, I don't want to divert from the point too much, but I feel so sorry for the defensive players these days. Even Dom Young yesterday, someone went up in the air to compete with him and they ruled that he grabbed his arm and they put him in the sin bin for 10 minutes. Just almost so hard for the defensive players. Everything's going in favour of attack for me.
Yeah, look, it's almost a natural reaction when you're up into the air and the other guy gets the ball for you to put your arm straight around him. You just can't do it.
Yeah, but that was deliberate, the one you're talking about with Tamale Eddie against Dom Young. That was clearly deliberate. That's a sin bin. That was a professional foul. This one wasn't a professional foul today.
Last one, I thought we got lucky with one in Golden Point. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I thought we were 40 metres coming out from our own end. Ball shifted wide to Devana. He was facing his own end goal, but I thought he clearly knocked it on. Did we get away with that one? Or
I'll have to take your word on it. I was sitting quite high up in the stands, and I didn't actually see the knock on you're referring to.
I saw it clearly. It was knocked back. Play on. 24-22, game over.
I could have seen it from here. It went back.
Just big picture, Rob, before we look at aspects, individual and aspects of the game, just to be 3-1. It's been so long. We're sitting in second place in the ladder, 4 weeks into the season. If they go in 4 weeks blocks, sitting second, I mean, we have to be thrilled, no matter if the wins are scrappy or not.
It's not as scrappy as you're saying. I loved a lot of what we did today. It's just there's still a clunkiness in the red zone attack. What I thought was interesting was a lot of times in the second half we actually created opportunities, but it seemed like some of the guys were like retreating instead of stepping on the gas. Like I thought Taruva could have penetrated a bit more. I thought a couple of lines should have been run that would have helped Adam do better with the 3-on-2s instead of holding the ball, which he probably had to in the end. There were a lot of situations where I think we can be better. You look like you're about to rip Adam with that look on your face.
No, I'm not going to touch Adam Dewey today. I think his game spoke for itself. What I wanted to say is it's really hard to say that it's been an ugly and clunky start to the season when we've had Taylor May out for an extended period. We've had Jerome Luai out. That's two of our most creative players. So I think, and I think we're going to have a team this year that at times does play ugly football. It can at times play some really pretty football, but it's not from the shape that you see Parramatta play. It's more from shifting the ball and getting one of our second rowers one-on-one with a defender and getting an offload. That's where our nice-looking play comes from. I don't think we're going to see a side that, like you saw from Parramatta today, that sweeps across the field and throws that nice shape at you. I just don't think we're that side. So I think there's times where we're going to look clunky and we're going to look like we're just taking the ball side to side because we do tend to do that. We go to our second rowers and we look for them to kind of work off our second rowers. I think you're going to see that this year. But what you're going to see is a team that doesn't give up.
Steve, I think we should keep them on that side of the table. That is way too much glass half empty. You're talking clunky and...
Mate, I'm not... No, I'm just saying a different style of football.
Mate, that's magnificent. It's brave. It's backing, controlling the ball and making Parramatta work and work and work. Even when Parramatta had an extra player, they looked gassed, didn't they, Steve?
Just put yourself in Benji Marshall's shoes for a minute, right? Like we came out of the blocks like a shotgun, right? Like because we'd had the bye and we were just itching to go, and we blew North Queensland off the park, right? Then we've had 2 wins where we outgutsed the opposition.
100%.
And teams that usually get the better of us, like Parramatta, usually roll over the top of us, get second phase play and march downfield and kill us. Warriors do the same. Warriors just go straight through the front door every time. And we out-toughed 2 teams. But in saying that, right, we had another slow start. Our left edge defence is still poor at best, right? There are things to work on, right? But we're winning games 3-1.
We're going to get better, and we're 3-1. That's what we should be focusing on. I accept what you're saying with the other stuff, but what you're saying is, I'd rather, like, that's 22-20 is a good scoreline. It doesn't have to be 38-36.
What I'm saying is, I like the football we're playing. I'm not saying that the football we're playing isn't a style of football that's going to win us games. I'm not saying it's not a style of football that we can be happy with. I'm saying we're going to be built more on grit. We're going to play a lot more through the middle than a lot of sides do. And our strike is going to come through using our second rowers on the edge. That's the style of football we're playing. You're not going to see a team that is throwing that shape and having that second man out the back, because we don't do that well. So I just think we're going to play a slightly different style of football to everyone else, but it's still a style of football you can be immensely proud of. I'm immensely proud of what we put out on the field today. And at times it looks like we're shifting the ball side to side and not really knowing, especially in the red zone where we're going. But then you have a play where Kai Pearce-Paul goes to the line and gets an offload back on the inside, and we score. So it's just a different style of play, and we're attacking the game a little bit differently to a side like Parramatta, who probably throws the best shape at a team of any team in the competition. We're just playing a different style of football.
Brandon W96, is he one of your boys that's been on Westlife?
Yeah, so Brandon was on the
on
last seat. We were sharing the microphone last Wednesday
So he's
night.
got a comment, Parra only looked good when we were down to 12 players, 13 on 13, we outplayed them. He also put a comment, which has gone off our screen now, that these sort of wins build character, Steve, because it's often the case in a season, you might have 8 games that are decided by 6 points or less. And if you're on the wrong ledger of them, that's often the difference between making finals or finishing 13th or 14th.
Yeah, well, that's right. So we threw one away. We lost one of those close ones against the Rabbits, but then we've come back today and got one back. So, I don't think Benji could be happier with what the team are producing at this stage of the season, but I just still want to say with things to work on, which is a positive. That's good.
One thing too, Eddie, Parramatta would have won today with the absolute help of the referee, a sin binning, and some ridiculous calls. We did it against all the odds. The only help we got was the potential knock-on that you're mentioning, which I was 60 metres in front of it, so I can't tell.
They did have a stack of injuries during the game.
But the offside penalty in Golden Point, mate, we've been on the wrong end of that. I remember Luke Brooks being offside at marker at Campbelltown. I remember, I think Todd Payton stripped a ball in Canberra one year, and that's happened to us multiple times. I don't think there's any luck involved, and if you do think there's luck, well, it's about time we make our own luck, okay? And we deserve that win.
And that's the point. We're making our own luck through effort. The effort the boys are putting in, the commitment, the heart, the resilience of this team at the moment is nothing like I think I've ever seen from any West Tigers side, even the side that won the comp, even the side in 2010, 2011. The fact that we're multiple times being down 10-0, 12-0.
We don't come back from 0-10 ever. And we don't come back from a sim binning and Parra scoring 2 tries. No way we come back from that in years gone by.
The resilience of this team, and they don't give up. And I'm not going to sit at a game at any point, I think I said it earlier, any point soon where I think, we can't win this game. And last week we were down 10-0 and I thought, this is going to be a horrible game. This is going to be a long game. I was a bit like Eddie. And then...
Poor thing.
I know.
Junior told me to grow up today after 15 minutes. I said, here we go. Bad jersey. We're playing like crap. And Junior said, grow up. And I thought,
don't talk to Basharas during the game.
Junior's just outside that door waiting for you,
Big
mate.
hello, Junior.
But that's the point, Eddie. We may get in these situations at heart, and we need to do it less. We can't be down 10-0 every single game.
Yeah, because you know what? One week we're going to be down 16-0.
Correct.
Right, and then we're in trouble.
And it was close to that happening a couple of times today.
Yep.
But I trust this side to stay in the fight, to stay competing, And I don't think we're going to see those blowout games that we've seen before because this side will fight and it will compete till the very end. And that's what it did today, and that's why we got away with the win today.
Shout out to Kyle on the live chat. He said he was right in front of the Tavana knock-on. He said it was definitely a knock-on and a good square-up. We got away with that one maybe. I want to talk about Kai Pearce-Paul, Rob. He is a weapon on the right edge. It's like he's broken the shackles from Newcastle and he is just causing havoc.
It seemed to plan earlier before we got that first try that we were going to try and isolate Jonah Pezzett, and just the way he drifts out in that line to get that gap before he receives the ball, that's absolutely class play. And to offload the ball the way he did, he nearly got another try as well. Was it off the bomb or something? Or where 3 or 4 blokes had to try and hold him up. The guy is an unbelievable purchase, and yeah, we can't do without him.
It was a perfect fit for our team, wasn't it? Recruitment A+.
Oh yeah, it was. So we are now dangerous on both edges. You know, throw it left to right, and we've got attacking weapons. And I just want to throw something else up there. It's obviously going through the club because I don't know the bloke's name. One of you guys might know the number 12 in Cup. He had a great game today, a back rower.
I didn't see
Polynesian guy.
What? Okay, well, it's not Tony Suka because he scored the try at number 11.
Was on the other side. He was fantastic too.
I can't believe the try Suka scored when he got smashed in the head and he still had the courage to hold the ball and score.
So we've got 2 back rowers in first grade playing great guns, and we had 2 back rowers in reserve grade that did a mighty job today.
Speak about like a coach or playing in the mentality of a coach. Just seems like Benji's the perfect coach for Kai Pearce-Paul because it was almost like under Adam O'Brien last year. He wasn't getting ball. I don't know if he was told not to offload, but this year shackles are off and he set up those 2 tries his first half.
I know we talk about the times we've had a chance to speak to Benji a lot, and I'm going to do it again, and I hope it doesn't annoy people, but we spoke to him at the coaches' night that we went to, Steve and I, and I spoke to him about Kai Pearce-Paul and said I think he'll suit what we do. He's got a great offload. He runs a great line. And Benji said, that's exactly what I told him. He goes, I went to Newcastle when we signed him and told him, we'll let you play your game. We'll let you offload. The ball will come to you. You won't be parked out on an edge just to tackle. And that is obviously translated to him coming here and being one of the form second rowers in the competition. He is simply outstanding and has really shown himself to be the missing link in our side. That right edge we've spoken about over many various podcasts for the last couple of years, that's a real weakness for our side. And he has slotted straight into that position. And within, 4 games we've played now, he now owns that right edge, and we have one of the best second rowers in the competition. Sam's had a great year, but Guy Pearce-Paul's in front of him on points for me.
So just on something you said there about his offload, right? Like kudos to the coaching staff, right? Because that is an obvious tactic that we've employed this year, so much more than last year in response to the new rules, I would say. But the second phase play we are producing offloads is just awesome. You know, we are really getting yardage from it.
And it's a trend across the NRL. You have a look, Penrith's always been a side that's quite structured, but they're playing off the back of a lot of offloads now as well. And they look their most dangerous when they keep the ball alive and they're playing against those unstructured defences that they're getting. And I think it's the same for us. Our best football is when we've got a guy who can offload and we get to play against an unstructured defence.
Well, it shows how the game's evolving. And as you just said, you mentioned Penrith. I heard a statistic today. Last year, after 5 games, Penrith had 13 offloads. This year, they have 50. So it's almost 4 times the amount. So I think it's actually a good thing for rugby league in general that we are promoting offloads. We're not promoting boring play and grinding play to an extent where you just win with a field goal in the 80th minute.
I reckon our stats would sort of mirror that a little bit, maybe not as much.
I think we were the highest offloads last year, weren't we?
I think we were very high last year as well.
But we'd still be in the top 5 now.
Yeah.
Rob, question without notice for you. It's from Robert Fattore. Sorry if I got your pronunciation of your last name wrong, Robert. He asks, if you were Benji, who would you pick in the outside backs when everyone's fully fit? Because they had their moments today. We've got a very young 2 to 5 at the moment, and Luke Lilly and Macassini had their moments again defensively. When everyone's fully fit, who would be your 2, 3, 4, 5?
Roundabout answer, but it depends if I trust Stafford Toa. Okay, if I trust Stafford Toa, it's Toa right centre, Taruva right wing, Taylor May left centre, Macassini left wing. Personally, I have more trust. I want 2 solid defensive centres, first and foremost, before the attack. And given that, I'd probably go Macassini and Taylor May on the other side. But as good a tackler as Macassini is, he's got some bad reads in defence from centre. So it's a bit of a conundrum, and the best part about it is we can chat about it, and Benji can sort it out himself.
But I think you nailed it. I think that's the logical way to go
The
forward.
first one?
Yeah, having Toa and Taylor as your centres, and then Makasini and Taruva as your wingers. I think that sets us up best for success. But Tavana,
I was just going to say, please mention Tavana.
Like he was outstanding today. That try he scored from the kick, and he's an aerial threat for a guy who is actually quite short. But he went over the top of someone, Adel today, who had quite a height advantage on him. Not only caught the ball above his head, was able to spin around one hand and ground the ball. That's an outstanding effort, and it's not the first effort like that we've seen this year. So he has a very bright future.
There's going to be some growing pains with Luke and Makasini, but some of Luke's carries out of yardage were great. It's just he's got to sort out his hands. He's got that one howler a game in him.
Yeah, he does. That's what I liked about Luke Laley when I first saw him last year. Like he's strong and he gets down low and nuggety and he pushes through and he does great yardage, out of the back end. I was pretty close to the sideline. I was like just 10 rows off the front, and I had Laulili and Makasini on that's the same side as me, and they looked like they had deer in the headlights sort of syndrome. Like, I'm not knocking them at all because they are both tremendous talents,
and they're kids,
right? And you expect it, but we want to hope what you're saying, Gary. We want to hope that we can get Taylor May back soon because I think them together, I think they're getting found out just because of their youth, right?
And today, I think defensively, there's a little bit at times a disconnect between them. If you have a look at that first try that Parramatta scored,
just going to mention that
both Luke and Makasini ended up in pretty much the same spot. Makasini, Luke's hands were pretty much on the back of Makasini as he missed the tackle.
But that's Luke's fault.
That is Luke's fault, though Makasini was still bleeding on the inside on that.
And there was another time I think Makasini jumped out of the line like way too early.
Look,
got left for stranded.
It's obviously a tactic we're going with. Is as soon as that shape comes, is they're jamming, but Luke jammed on that first one when Makasini didn't jam as fast. So they've really got to get that sorted out because I think that's 3 tries in 2 weeks down that edge.
We can't expect consistency from 3 young guys. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 13 games for Luke now, 2 for Tavana and 4 for Makasini. So it's 19 games between 3 players.
Yeah.
I was happy they just did a job last week against New Zealand. I thought anything we do today is a bonus. But I don't want to knock Luke, but just my feeling is I can't sort of trust him. I feel like there's going to be 1 or 2, 3 critical errors, not simple errors, critical errors a game that could cost us. And I'm not referring to the sin bin or anything like that, just bad reads in the fences, the dropped ball on the first tackle. We saw that against North Queensland at Leichhardt as well. He's got some clangers in him, but he runs the ball so well out of our end. And when he came back on, my God, he was a force getting us out of our end.
So just on Tavana, like we've all stated that we're concerned about our red zone attack and that we look a bit lost trying to get points. Tavana is a pretty good option, right? Like on that 5th tackle, kicking down the right wing, like he's shown that over a couple of weeks now. I think Makasini is an enormous talent, but is he lay down Mazaire to get that wing spot ahead of Tavana?
The left wing he is, but I'm put it this way: I would keep Tavana before Luke in first grade, just on what they've shown the last 2 games.
Yeah, Makasini.
I suppose it's going to be because it's left and right, isn't it?
Correct.
That's going to be what it comes down to.
And look, your aerial attack, once you move Taruva onto that right wing that Tavana's on, we'll just move to the left through Makasini.
But Tavana played left wing when he scored that sensational try in the trial, don't forget, when he put the ball around the corner post. So they both alternated that trial, both Luke and Tavana.
I reckon he and Makasini might be in for a bit of a battle. I don't think it's a lay down that Makasini gets it.
One of my lunatic mates, Dylan Powell, he's spamming the chat, so I better make a...
you better say something.
He said, Gary, that a lot of average reads this year from Macca in the centre. Is there a case in the next week or 2, even before Taylor's back, to put him back on the wing and maybe we see some of that stuff we saw in that trial at Leichhardt?
I think he's playing in the centres a little bit too early before he's ready. I'd like to see him go back to that wing as soon as possible. He's got a lot of advantages playing on that wing. He's very good coming out of our own end. And he is a real threat on the end of the line. And the decision-making is made by the centre the majority of the time. So I think that allows him to follow. Hopefully, Taylor will be playing back at that left centre spot because I think that's the best left edge we can put up.
Taylor May getting injured potentially cost Macassini a State of Origin spot, because I think if you'd have had so many games on the left wing and being the beast that we think he could be, he would have been too hard to overlook.
Let's talk about the halves, Steve. Jock Madden, what an unsung hero. He comes in, Luai's out, Tigers fans are panicking, and maybe, his kicking game, I thought it was okay today. I thought he got us out of trouble a few times, maybe kicked early a couple of times when he shouldn't have, or hit the full, but his goal kick under pressure at 2018, that's a big moment.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway for him today. His goal kicking, it won us the game, really. Not just the last kick. You got a couple from the sideline, yeah. Like him and Dewey, they didn't get as much space today. They were pretty heavily marked, and so they weren't able to run with the space that they had last week, for example. But they counted it pretty well, I thought.
Coach will sort of break it down a lot better than what I can. But we didn't look great in shape today. I think we had 33 tackles in there, 20 in the first half. Would have been 50 plus by the end of the game. But he keeps coming at you, Jock Madden. He's a cool customer. He didn't, even when he got interviewed after the game and everyone's sort of deer in the headlights, he was calm under pressure, and he kept peppering Adel with that kick, kept going to it.
Well, I'm definitely going to give Adel a bit of grief in the next pod, because I was speaking to Adel during the game and he said, he's just doing his job. Jock Madden, by an eyelash, was probably the best player on the field for me. So I can't believe he just said he's just doing his job. I thought Jock Madden was brilliant. For all the stuff with the attack and the kicking and whatever, don't forget Parramatta scored 4 tries to 3, so his goal kicking was vital, but it was his defence. I don't know what his missed tackle count was, but I'm telling you, I was keeping an eye on that, because I thought Kelma Tuolangi is going to go over the top of him multiple times today, and he was getting everything in it. I know that try that new winger Tweedle or whatever, Tweedle or whatever, like if that corner post wasn't there, he grounds it on the junction of the both sidelines. So that was just a bit unlucky, but just everything he did today, I was so proud of that, because let's face it, he's not on the sort of money where you expect him to be able to produce what he did against New Zealand week after week after week. But he's had 2 magnificent games back to back.
You can tell he's a good team guy. People are happy when he does well. I even saw Reece Walsh last week comment on Instagram, put some respect on his name, Jock Madden.
Yeah, I thought the big point for me is what Rob just said, is defence. And what it was today is he was getting up off the line nice and quick and making that contact early. And I think that went a long way to improving a few of those issues where he got caught on the line last week and got caught out of position last week a couple of times. So I think his ability to get up off the line today made a very, very big difference.
Like we really have a problem out in our left edge defensive. Like there's an area there we have to work on. But, I've watched a fair bit of footy this year, and I've been paying particular attention to defensive line speeds. Like Penrith just blow my mind, right, with their line speed. But I tell you what, we're
bloody good.
Other than that, we are right up there. Our defensive line speed is rock solid, and it's rock solid all game.
Mate, that first 18 minutes of the first half that you were talking about leading up to that sin binning.
Second half.
Did I say first half? Yeah, well, second half. Our line speed coming, and when we had Parramatta camp down their own end, they were only getting out to their 20-metre line on a number of sets, and it was all through driving that line speed and getting up and jamming them quick. What it shows to me, and what it's been shown in a couple of areas, the last 10 minutes of a game, of a half, we're coming over the top of teams. Yep. We've done that, 3 times now. We've scored multiple tries in the last 10 minutes of the first half. And we're driving line speed all game. It's fitness.
But the other thing that's happening too that hasn't happened this year, that's happened previous years, is we're not getting beaten in the middle. Like our first contact is ferocious, but Pole's got a missed tackle in him, but he was being beaten, like our front row was getting beaten laterally a lot last year. And either I haven't noticed it or it's not happening in the middle like it used to.
Well, it didn't happen last week. I haven't seen the stats for this week. We missed 4 tackles through our starting forwards last week. Yeah. So it didn't happen last week. But again, it's that first contact, it's getting up off the line and needing to defend the attacking player early. It's made a huge difference defensively to our side. And once you start winning that contact, you start to win the ruck, which allows you to both in attack and defence play on the front foot, and we haven't had that in a long time.
I know you're talking about defence, but shout out to Polo on some of his runs today. He really got into the line and made a big difference today and got us a lot of go forward, particularly in attack.
Well, mate, he leads our line speed a lot of the time too.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
Adam was still super dangerous with his running game. It almost felt like a bit like the Easter Monday game last year where he was just off. I don't know whether they pressured him. He actually made a couple of errors with the ball.
Look, for me with Adam, all it is he's primarily a runner, and I think that's why our shape doesn't look as good as it does at times. If we're happy to have a run first half, I mean 99% of the time he's going to tuck the ball and he's going to run, then he's quite good in that role and he's dangerous in that role. And even today, there was times he was close to going through a couple of times today in what I thought was probably a poor game by his standards, but he was still dangerous running the ball. He's an outstanding runner of the ball.
I'm his biggest fan, but I think there was something wrong with him today. I just he wasn't moving as well as he normally moves. He had the errors, but they were there.
He did look a little bit proppy.
He just didn't look like he was moving right. He missed a few tackles in the first half. I was thinking, Adam, what's going on? This isn't like him, but he doesn't give up. His effort areas were outstanding. Even when we did that poor pass when Parramatta ran down in the first half and almost scored, he was still there with a number of other players, by the way, to hold that player up before he lost the ball.
And what I'll say is,
it was the second half, actually, wasn't it?
What wasn't the second half?
First half. It was the closest to me saying
you're right. Yeah, so it was right at the end of the first half.
Yeah, loose ball they picked up.
Yeah, he threw a ball that went to ground, or he dropped the ball. But that's something that I used to be highly critical of him, is when he'd make that error, I wouldn't see the chase to fix it.
Yeah.
And that chase he put on back to make that tackle, I can't remember who it was on, but it saved that try. They score that try if Adam doesn't put in that effort. And that's what I've seen in the evolution of his game. It's not so much that he's playing better football than he's played in the past. He's playing a not give up style of football, which I think at times when he's made a mistake in the past, he's kind of dropped his head. Now he actually chases back to try and fix it.
I think he was a heavy target today too. They were really
he was on the cheat sheet for sure.
Yeah, but did he kick at all today? Any downtown?
He had to once when a ball got flung back on the last.
But that was
and we didn't get a penalty, even though Riley Smith is 8 metres offside and almost in his face. I don't know how we don't get a penalty there, but you don't want to mention that, do you?
That would indicate that there is an injury still there. If he hasn't kicked at all,
well, it's unusual.
And he didn't goal kick when 40 out.
And they didn't.
Jock Madden got the distance, but not by a lot.
He wasn't in a position really for the field goal either at any point, even as a secondary option.
You guys were there pre-game. He was putting up bombs in the warm-up.
Yeah,
if your groin's
Yeah,
bad, don't kick the ball at all. I don't get it.
Let's talk about the forward pack. Royce Hunt only played 13 minutes before half-time, but changed the momentum of the game.
Mate, it's simply outstanding. We have a completely different footballer this year to what we've had in the past. And it's not just – look, the thing that shows up and the thing that pops out that you notice is his impact through the middle, which is huge. Like, he's hard to bring down every time. But his lateral movement in the middle, compared to what I've seen in the past, has gone to another level. There was times today where he was taking that extra step to kind of cover on the inside, and sometimes the ball doesn't come, so you're just doing it and it's wasted energy. But he was – those extra steps, those extra efforts, I think because of his increased fitness that we've seen, has improved his game immensely.
Well, what about his play the ball speed as well? Like, there were times last year he looked like an old rugby prop trying to get up on one knee. You know? Like, he's down on his stomach, he's up and playing the ball.
And I would say this is probably the best football I've seen him play, even when he was at Cronulla.
Yeah,
There's been multiple comments in the chat today just about the team's fitness. And I think Benji said it during the week. There was a clip in pre-season where he said, if you're fitter, you're going to make better decisions under pressure. And that's Royce Hunt's the best example of that.
People think I'm mad. When we came 13th last year, when we came last year before, I saw a lot of resilience. It's just now we're fitter. So we're fitter so we can correct those things and we can play for longer. But what was incredible today that I did notice at the game live, Alex Twell played 66 minutes straight or something, comes off and then comes back on with a few minutes left. That just shows you the importance of Alex Twell to the team now as well.
And how I never thought I would say that's a key guy you need to bring back on now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I would have ever sat there after seeing Alex Twell play 66 minutes and thought, we need to get him back on. But we did need to get him back on today because he just shores up that middle. And talking about fitness, it's even a guy like Api Coruscant, who's
amazing.
How long was that game today?
84 feet at times.
84 minutes. that his game has gone to another level this year because he's obviously a lot fitter than he has been the last couple of years, and he's able to compete for longer. I'm not like so many times I've said in the past I don't like him playing 80 minutes. I'm a little bit more comfortable with it at the moment because he seems to be dealing with it a lot better than he has in the past.
So it's my turn to drop the Benji name now, right? So
Yeah, well, mate, we
Coffee club.
do
Coffee club.
know
Yeah.
your best mates.
So when we were chatting with him a couple of weeks ago, we actually asked him that question, and he said that it's so scientific now, and so Appy. So let's say Appy was meant to play 70 minutes today and ends up playing 85, right? So what they do is then they go and they reduce his load at training during the week. So by the time they get to next Friday, he's done the exact same amount of kilometres in the legs and the contact that he should have done by that time anyway. So I think we don't possibly understand the science to the game as much as they do, obviously, right? Because we think, oh, geez, he's just bashed out 85 minutes, he's going to be knackered. But he'll have a very light week, and then by the time next week comes around, he'll be ready to go, just like everyone else.
The amount of effort he's put in the last couple of weeks, they may need to put him in a wheelchair for a week, just wheel him around because he's been outstanding.
But I also think we're not as Appy reliant in attack, so he's not having to make those fantastic breaks out of dummy half or set up something. And his runs are less now. I'm going to guess he had maybe 5 or 6 runs maximum today.
There was a couple of quality ones, though.
There was a couple of quality ones, particularly in that first half.
He pulls them out when needed, that's for sure.
Whilst we're on the forwards, Danny's World on the live chat mentioned Samuela took a catch off the dropout to relieve the pressure, and basically the reason we got the penalty in the diving moments, I think he's caught 3 short dropouts in 2 weeks, or a kickoff and 2 short dropouts.
I forgot about that dropout.
Some of his desperation moments have been elite.
He's the target of those dropouts. He's the target of those short kickoffs. They're actually set up for him to catch those balls.
Why don't we do it on the goal line for him then, in the attacking play? Because he's... You know how the Warriors sort of use their back rows?
I think we did the first half.
We did it today.
And he caught it.
He recovered one.
He recovered it.
I know like Tavano was good, but I thought we maybe overdid it a little bit, continually going back there, even when we were on the short side. Maybe we could...
So you're talking about in general play?
Yeah, just in general play for an attacking kick on the goal
line.
Look,
I think he's shown that he's probably a target you could use for that.
Some of these elite leapers in the game, I think the kickers now, I know Jock Madden put the ball up for Tavana and he caught it a couple of metres out. I think it's almost to the point now you could put it on the try line or put it in goal. So all they've got to do is catch it and just ground it, as opposed to catch it and try and beat 2 or 3 other people.
Don't forget Buller in that scenario too. Like Buller coming through the middle of the field on a 5th tackle bomb.
We never put one up for him today, did we?
None.
The reason they put it 2 metres out is simply they don't want the risk of the opposition.
No, I understand, but when you've got, it's going to be a try. It's just a waste for a Kai Pearce-Paul or a Samuel Afenu to catch the ball and then still get held up. Just a point of note.
I don't know if we've got time for good, bad, ugly, Gary, but you can throw one of them in if you like. But let's do 3, 2, 1.
We've got
first.
Time for everything, mate. This is a party.
You've got the coach
You're
waiting.
not the host.
The coach
I don't care about
waiting.
the coach. The coach can wait. You do whatever
He's
you got to do
come down to
tonight.
Sydney.
He's literally out there
Sydney.
watching clips, so he makes
How
sure
many
he
games
give
do we
a
win
good
in Golden
performance.
Point? You go overtime like the teams
I'm
in
not
today.
using it.
mate.
We got extra time.
We're going to Golden Point.
Gary, 3,
I'm not
2,
worried
1.
about coach. I want to get to the pizza and beers later.
Well, I'm
Okay.
on the bench second, so I'm going straight away on the beers after this. If anyone wants to meet me, Crown Hotel, I'll be there in about 10 minutes.
My 3 today, I have to give it to Kai Pearce-Paul. I thought he was outstanding. I don't think we come back into that game in the first half without his efforts, and defensively really strong as well.
3 points, same. Kai Pearce-Paul. He's the one who got it all happening for us.
Can I do an Adel and give 12 players half a point each?
Mate,
Was that a shot at Adel?
If I don't give Jock Madden 3 points today, I never will. Outstanding game. Absolutely outstanding game.
yep, Jock got my 2, so I agree. He was absolutely fantastic. Led us around the park really well. His kicking game, well, there was a couple that weren't great, but the majority of his kicks were outstanding in found grass.
2 points for me. It was Royce Hunt. Just powerful, powerful, powerful.
2 points for me, Appy Coruscant. I've waxed on about him already.
Yeah, Appy got my 1.
Madden.
I'm going to give half a point each to both our second rowers, Kai Pearce-Paul and Samuel Afenu.
Oh, well, I'll give half to Madden, half to Appy.
And Sam played injured. Like so early in that first half, he picked up an injury, and I think it affected him for pretty much the rest of the game. So that was a huge effort from him as well.
Anything else, boys, from the game? Any notable players we haven't mentioned, use of the bench today. Latu played maybe similar amount of time that he did last week, Gary.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he had a great deal of impact today.
Parramatta had a lot of the ball when he was.
Yeah, so I don't think we got the performance out of him today we kind of saw in that brief stint last week. So, but yeah, I think we'll see that continue for the foreseeable future.
Oh, look, we really have to address the way we're starting games. I watched them today in the warm-up, and they seem to be they seem to be out there a little bit longer. And
that's what I mean. Parramatta did 10 minutes. We did about half an, but they were doing 40-metre sprints. I'd be knackered by the time they were.
It's seen they've changed it up to what they used to do to try to get them. I don't know.
Redlining.
I suppose so. But it's that's 3 weeks in a row, and it's happened last year as well. There's a hassle.
The thing is. And it's happened a couple of times already. It's not necessarily a poor start. We actually today we started the game fairly well. We'll camp down on Parramatta's line. It's the fact that we're not coming away in those first couple of sets that we do dominate possession.
But then we lack resilience too early in the game.
Yeah, that's what's odd because I think our resilience has been great, but we seem. And I can't remember the other game. One of the other games that happened as well. It might have been the Warriors last week. I can't remember. Might have been South, where we had a fair bit of possession on their line.
Yeah, that was South.
We were unable to score points, and then they marched down the other end and score. And I think perhaps if we kind of get over the line early in a game soon, it may alleviate that. Maybe there's a little bit of pressure on the boys. They know they're not starting well, so those first couple of sets they're kind of not they're rushing through. I don't know what it is, but it's not necessarily just down to a poor start because I think we're actually starting well. But not getting the result and then kind of crumbling a little bit after that.
Eddie, we've mentioned a lot of good players today. One that deserves a shout out is Tito Taruva. I thought he was brilliant. There were a couple of times.
To getting a couple of tries.
Well, if he put his head down, I actually think he might have got there a couple of times. But some of those carries out of our end, some of his defence, unbelievable.
And playing out of position, so absolutely fantastic.
Clumsy comics. Sorry, he made a comment earlier. Rob, Knights versus Tigers, second versus third on the ladder. Who would have believed that 5 weeks ago?
Definitely wouldn't have believed that 5 weeks ago, and especially after Ponga and Dylan Brown got injured for Newcastle. But again, I mentioned on Wednesday night, guys, if you're not supporting this team next week at Campbelltown, the only people that have got an excuse are either Eddie or me. One of us isn't going to be able to go because someone's got to be here by 6:30 for a podcast with Adel, so the rest of us can get here by 7:30. But get out to the game,
Has
guys.
that game sold out? I did see a report today.
I saw something it was sold out.
No, the Newcastle game, the tickets, the sales aren't great.
But
given
after today, if it's not a sellout next week, there's something wrong.
And Newcastle should be getting there too, given how their team's going.
Outstanding.
But the Brisbane game has got good sales, by the way, for the week after.
So, guys, I'll mention this again on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. But we've got.
Are we sleeping here tonight? We're going to do the preview tomorrow,
I think we might just. But we've got an ambush event pre-game next week before the Campbelltown game. We're going to be at the Sherwood Hotel for the first time. So I think, off the top of my head, it's a 4 o'clock kickoff. So I think we're at 2 o'clock event next weekend. So if you're out there, come to the ambush. We're hoping to have a guest, but everyone's coming back from injury, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that. But we'll see.
Did you see pre-game today?
Surely that was a GL. I've heard the same thing.
Luai was getting interviewed by Cronk, and he asked when he'd be back. He goes, next week, fingers crossed.
Maybe find out at 4 o'clock tomorrow. All right, boys, it's been fantastic. Rob's going to have a quick 2-minute toilet break. He's going to be back. We're going to let the coach off the leash, joined by Junior and Rob for Coach's Report in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Thanks so much for all the guys that made the comments. Go the West Tigers. What a win today at CommBank.